This is the brand spanking new Springfield Armory Hellcat 380. It's the new Springfield Hellkitten, the 380 version. Very first shots with the new Hellkitten 380. This is actually the Hellcat 380. So let's see how it runs. Haven't tried it yet. We'll start with the extended mag, then we'll do full 11 rounds with the flush fit mag. Well, pinky extension mag. Wow, that's like very, very soft shooting. Now it didn't lock back, but that could very well be because my thumb was riding this slide hold open pretty tight. I'm gonna be conscious about that. So second mag, let's see if we'll actually get a lock back on it. All right, thumb's a little lower this time, not interfering with the release. Hold open does work, slide lock works. I think my thumb was just riding that. This isn't that bad. This is a very, very soft shooter. I'm pretty impressed so far. First mag, very soft shooter. This is the 380 Hellcat. This is made by HS product in Croatia, imported by Springfield Armory. You can see it's basically, it doesn't look much different than the original Hellcat. It's just chambered in something much smaller and it's quite a bit lighter. So this sucker unloaded only weighs 1 pound. Of course, that's without the optic, without a loaded magazine, and then without the tactical light that I put on the front. This is the TLR7 sub. When Springfield told me about this, I was intrigued because I've been a big fan of the 380s that have come out over the past year or two. The 380s these days are not the same as those little tiny pocket 380s that were out for quite a while. I mean, honestly, the technology has changed enough to where the recoil is way lighter on a 380 now versus a 9mm. And you'd think, of course, it's a lightly loaded, short 9mm round. That said, there's still some 380s out there that are not fun to shoot. They're still snappy, whether it's ergonomics, recoil systems, whatever it is. Just because it's 380 doesn't mean it doesn't kick. So I'm happy to say this thing shoots soft. I mean, the old Hellcat shot pretty well. I don't have a Hellcat. I do have a Hellcat Pro, but I did do a review on a Hellcat several years ago. That was Tactical Considerations, let me borrow his and test it out and do a video. But even compared to that Hellcat Pro, which is a little bigger than this guy, this thing shoots way soft. So that's nice. So you're buying a 380, you kind of hope that it would shoot lighter than a 9mm because that's kind of the point of a 380. Something more compact, something that has a lighter recoil. So thankfully, Springfield actually did that with this guy, and this thing does not punch you whatsoever when you shoot it. We tested 3 different types of full metal jackets, and we tested 2 different types of defensive rounds or hollow points. All right, now since this is a gun that's probably gonna be carried in the EDC fashion, it's obviously not something meant for competition or just for range fun. It's gonna be carried as an EDC gun. That's what it's designed for. So we do wanna test out some self-defense ammunition. Now this is the S&B XRG. It's a 77 grain hollow point. I've got 5 rounds loaded up in the mag, so let's test it out. It still feels very light. You know, typically the self-defense type ammo, they're gonna run a little bit hotter, and these feel just fine. I'm very surprised with how soft of a shooter this package is. We've done a couple mags with the PMC Bronze 95 grain FMJs just to test out some variety. This is the MaxTech 95 grain FMJs. So let's see how that runs. Right here, this is the Fiocchi 95 grain, the Range Dynamics FMJs. So far it's eaten 4 different types of ammo, just fine without failures so far. So we have the Max Tech, the Fiocchi Range Dynamics, the PMC Bronze, and the SMB XRG Defense hollow points. 5 more rounds of self-defense ammo. This stuff is the Winchester hollow points. These are a little bit spicier than the SMB XRGs. Let's test this out. You can tell there's a little more pop on the gun, but this gun does such a good job at mitigating that recoil. Very, very soft shooter. This is actually really impressive. Even the spiciest hollow points that I had, which were the Winchester, this thing takes that recoil down to nothing. So this Hellkitten is actually really fun to shoot. Now, what kind of sucks though is 380 is a heck of a lot more expensive than 9mm. It's about twice the cost of 9mm. This guy is 1 inch wide. Let's look at the stippling. So here's the stippling right here. If you guys know, I do tons of content on the echelons. This is stippled the same as the echelon. Very similar pattern, same texturing, everything. Your mag release is nicely contoured into the grip. It doesn't stick out, but the grip tapers in. So it's easy to squeeze that mag release without accidentally tripping the mag release. So I love this mag release design. Trigger feels fine. It feels like a trigger actually is pretty nice. There's a little creep to it. Let's see. So here's your take up. There's a little wall right here, and then a break, and then the reset right there. Then a teeny bit of creep right there, then the wall. So trigger feels fine. If I had to guess, probably around 5.5, 6 pound trigger pull. Now, right here, let's take a look at the sights. So just like the Echelon, just like the other Hellcats, you have a white U-notch over here on your rear. In the front, you have a fiber optic and night sight, so it's tritium fiber optics. So you got that tritium dot in the middle. And then the optic cut for this guy is a Shield RMSC style optic cut. So you put your RMSCs, or like this one, this actually came with this new Shield optic, which is pretty cool. And actually very clear. I like this optic. You'll notice right here, this is a TLR7 sub. You can see right here it says 1913. This is not the Hellcat model of the TLR7 sub. Now, what I had to do for this TLR7 sub was basically use the number 4 key that came with it. So number 5 is too far. It won't make the clearance between the trigger guard and your single slot accessory rail. The number 4 just about made it, but the number 4 was a little too thick and a little too tall for this light to work on it. So what I had to do was basically I took a soldering iron and I melted a little tab on that key, and then I shaved it down with my knife to square it all off, and then I had to take the soldering iron and flatten it a little bit lower so it actually fits flush with the bottom. Actually fits flush with the bottom of the rail over here. So once I did that, I was able to get that number 4 key to actually work with this Hellcat, and it's on there nice and good. I did a couple mags with it attached. Video right here. Mags with it attached, and it works just fine. So the reason I'm so adamant on having a light option, I love that it comes with a light. I'm kind of a little bummed they didn't go with a standard size 1913 accessory slot, but it does have an accessory slot. So with this TLR7 sub, they actually make a special Hellcat version that's meant to fit on your Hellcat, but I like the 1913 because it's more universal. So I went out and I bought this light to mount to this gun, but I did not want to commit to the Hellcat one because most likely I'm going to end up taking it off at one point and trying it on something else. So now I got a couple of these TLR7 subs floating around. Make that little modification to the number 4 key that the 1913 comes with, and you're good to go. Let's talk overall performance with the Hellcat, and like I said, very soft recoil. It's not bad whatsoever. Much softer than the 9mm version. You guys saw my Bodyguard 2.0 video, the Smith & Wesson. I was praising how soft that one shot. Very, very soft recoil for such a small gun. And Springfield did similar magic to this one because this feels like a full-size gun, minus the actual feel of it, you know, the grip and all that. It has the recoil of a full-size gun, which is nice. That means it shoots softer. This guy is a 13-round magazine with the extension, and this guy is the flush fit magazine, and that's an 11-round magazine. It's got a little pinky extension, but it does not add to capacity. So altogether, you get a nice 24 rounds of firepower with the Hellcat Pro. Decent capacity. I'm fine with that. For the size of the gun and how short the grip is, the extension doesn't make it that much taller. In fact, even with the extension, I have bigger hands. My pinky still kind of sits off the bottom a little bit. Overall, I like the blockiness of the Hellcat. It is a blockier texture. You can see on the corners, it's not really rounded. I mean, it's rounded, but it's still blockier, right? Hellcat's always been kind of more of a squared gun. But for that build, it's actually pretty dang comfortable. So I really don't have any complaints about that once I started shooting it. And that's really going to help. Like I said, this gun is meant for EDC. It's meant for an everyday carry, something small that you can tuck inside the waistband or however you carry, whether you keister it, whatever, that's up to you. It's small. So, of course, with a small gun, you're going to get a shorter grip. About 200 rounds is what I put through this gun, mostly full metal jacket. But I did do some testing on the self-defense rounds, and it ate those rounds just fine too. MSRP is going to be like close to 650 bucks. The good thing is that's not your sale price, that's MSRP. So, you know, shave a certain amount. When these actually hit the market, I imagine you'll see them for the high 500 range. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys later.